Welcome, Degens, to another edition of the Degen Docs. That is right, folks. We've got our Thursday night episode. It's Thursday night. That means there's Thursday night football. Of course, we're breaking that game down. We're breaking down all the biggest and best injury news, analysis, all that. We've got our love-hate scale for fantasy football. We've got our props of the week. We got our underdog pick of the week. Best bets coming off of 6-2 last 8 bets. And, of course, the Degen parlay, where we get a little rich. All right, folks, this NFL Week 4 betting tips and fantasy football edition of the Degen Docs is brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and they're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPNDOC to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, folks, I am one of your hosts, the Degen Doc, the OG here, and I'm joined by my co-host, my brother in degeneracy, Mr. Derek Bennett, a.k.a. Professor Locks. How we doing tonight, brother?
Hey, we're doing pretty well. How we feeling going into this big division game tonight?
How are we feeling? Well, let me say first, cheers to you, brother. Cheers to the audience if you're here having a good time with us. I'm going to need a lot more of these tonight, probably, is how I'm feeling. Oh, geez. Oh, God.
That's okay.
Oh, I had a little bit of a squirter incident here.
Also, I do want to give my condolences to another bottle that I know went through some tough times in your hands not too long ago. You know, my guy likes some whiskey from time to time, but
oh, you asshole!
On the way home, we had a casualty.
Yes, we had a fucking casualty. Thanks for bringing it up as I fucking spill beer here and trying to clean this up here. What kind of filibuster was that? So, yes, man. Oh, last Friday, as most people do, get the liquor store run in, picked up some JMO, was going into having a good weekend. And I picked up something for the wife, trying to be a good husband. And I guess the bag I grabbed had a ginormous fucking hole in it. So I get out of the car and I go to pick it up and immediately, boom, shattered. And so I'm just like, look, I've been gambling for a little while now. I've lost money, but that was the quickest $50 I lost ever. So look, I thought it was a shit weekend, but what I can say is that maybe I need to fucking start doing it all the time, because I hit this sweet little college football parlay this weekend, past weekend here. And if we look here, so Clemson, easy money. Army, which big night for the Fearon household right now. Look, Army's playing in a little bit here. Got the Giants. They're going to be in a really good mood, or don't fucking talk to me. Tulane, Utah with Zach Wilson's little brother, Kyle Whittingham. Shout out to him, one of the best coaches in the college football. I don't even remember what game, Iowa. But look at the last play, Colorado -1. For those that did not watch that Colorado game,
holy smokes.
First of all, it took a fucking Hail Mary, and then it took Travis Hunter forcing a fumble at the goal line in overtime.
Yep.
So I'm there Saturday night, freaking, look, 6 to win, 82-1, 6 to win, $500. What a sweat, man. That's a sweat. Awesome. That is what that's what being a DJ is all about. Being able to sweat.
That is the what we not necessarily dream of, because we like those short sweats from time to time, but does make a lot of games a lot more interesting when you got a little cash on a Colorado or your G-Men tonight. We'll see
who we're on there, but yeah, man, always a good time. Look, lost $50 dropping the alcohol, but immediately made $500. So it can't be that mad. Can't be that mad. All right, look, I do want to. Well, first of all, Monday night, man. Monday night, we came on here. Look, we do a live show every Monday about 7:15, 7 every Thursday, same time. And we talked Monday football, and we were on it. I mean, we hit the Bills pretty heavy. Obviously, that one was a no sweat, absolute, bona fide winner there. What were some other plays that we were on Monday? We had, I know I was on the Commandos. We were kind of on, why don't you give out some of the plays you were on? I know you took Goldilocks, Trevor Lawrence to have an interception.
I took Goldilocks to throw a pick. I took his under 242. I did have Brenton Strange parlayed with that, which was pretty nice little payday there. I was on the over in the Bengals Commandos game. That was not a sweat much really at all. Big time on Jamar Chase is
Chase came through
little
for
bit
us.
of a ladder, so he came through pretty well.
B-Rob anytime touchdown.
Yep.
That was an easy first quarter.
That was for sure. Yeah, the one that I just barely missed, and it really came down to that final drive for the Jags. Let's see here. I had B-Rob to score, I had Jaden Daniels to score, Jamar Chase to score. All those dudes scored pretty quick. James Cook to score, and then I had my old friend Travis Etienne, and he just couldn't get it done. But
I mean, no one on the Jags could get that done.
Yeah, but, no doubt.
That was a fun sweat. We were sweating that out together on Monday. So look, all right, folks, enough of the past here. We're moving forward. We're going to NFL Week 4. We are about to get into the injury update that you came to see. But before we do that, I do want to pull something up here because I got to give a shout out to Alex Singleton. He tore his ACL on the play here. So it was
Mayfield for the corner. It's intercepted.
You'll see him here. He's blocking. He's running. He kind of takes a little bit of a hit there. The injury, obviously. Let's see if I can stop that. There we go. The injury itself sucks. ACL tear. He's going to be out for the season. He's the Denver Broncos leading tackler the past 3 seasons.
Yep.
But the guy injured himself in the first quarter and played the entire fucking game. Yeah. He did not miss a defensive snap, and he led the team in tackles. Yeah. So shout out to you, Alex Singleton. Cheers to you, man. Definitely sucks that, hey, look, no one loves a season-ending injury, but what an absolute dog.
Yeah, hell of a player. But this is also like one of those points where, like, I tell students, or I ask students all the time, hey, if you tear a ligament, let's say your ACL, do you have to have it replaced? Do you have to have surgery? No, you don't have to. There are a lot of high-level athletes, a lot of high-level individuals out there that are ACL-less, that are, have some missing ligaments and some minor things that more often than not, we hear of these big surgeries that take 9 months, 12 months, 16 months to recover from. Goes to show you with a little bit of grit, a little bit of toughness, we can fight through a lot of stuff.
Look, man, you're talking about biting kneecaps, biting ACLs off. Maybe they're not that important. But no, yeah, that is just shout out to Alex Singleton there. All right, let's get in to the injury update. We're going to bounce around a bit. Hey, look, chat, I know we were popping on Monday. Definitely, if you guys got somebody, let us know because Thursday night, we got a lot more to get to because we got these games. We're getting off here about 8:05, 8:10.
Let's share some picks out.
Yeah, we got to get our picks out. So we're going to breeze through some of these injury updates. We're going to be kind of going pretty quick. So if you have a guy that you specifically want to ask about, now's the time. Drop it in a chat. Hey, should I be looking to pivot away from this guy? All right, one of the first guys that we're going to talk about is Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving, look, Todd Bowles came out and said, hey, Bucky Irving has earned more snaps. He's simply been way more productive than Rachaad White. Rachaad White, despite getting most of the touches, his efficiency's been terrible. Bucky Irving's earned some opportunity. That sounded great. Now, unfortunately, Irving picked up a hamstring injury yesterday, was limited, and now did not practice today. This is a big red flag for me. Bucky Irving has said that he's going to play Sunday, but where are you at with this situation? How are you feeling with this Bucky Irving thing?
Well, I mean, just based on his practice timeline here, we're regressing, right? He was limited yesterday. He didn't practice at all today, which is, like you said, just not a good sign. So, especially with hamstring injuries, we know that that's one of those injuries that just keeps coming back. It's very much one of those reoccurring injuries that it's just a pain. As an athlete, he's probably thinking, walking around doing all these things, not practicing. I'm feeling pretty great.
Yeah.
Until he starts to put a little bit more intensity into that. And then all of a sudden, oh shit, that still hurts kind of a thing. Or it just makes things worse. So not real high on Bucky at this
No.
point for this upcoming week.
I mean, we just saw this, dude. We just saw this with T. Higgins. T.
Yep.
Higgins was saying he was feeling great. He's got a yada, and he missed practice for 2 weeks and didn't play. So, look, I'm not optimistic here on Irving. You know, you don't want to play a guy this short off a hamstring injury. He may be feeling fine. He may think he could play, but that's where the medical experts need to step in and say, hey, let me save you from yourself a little bit. Let's not turn 2 weeks into 5 weeks, you know?
Right.
All right. Another guy who is in a similar situation, Carolina Panthers wide receiver Deontay Johnson, groin injury, did not practice today, but he said he expects to play on Sunday. Where are we at with Johnson? A little bit different of an injury, a little bit veteran player. Where are we at here?
Yeah, I mean, it's still concerning to me, especially with that not practicing label.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to the hamstrings and the adductors, there is some similarities there. And especially when it comes to major push off, cutting kind of things, those medial lateral muscles have a big crucial role to play in that. So, you know, especially with Adam Thielen probably not playing this week.
He's on the IR. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah.
You know, I would not be surprised if Deontay Johnson gives it a shot, but he may be kind of like Justin Herbert was last week. You know, he takes one hit, he runs one route, pulls something a little bit more, and all of a sudden he's sitting on the bench.
Yep. Not late week injuries, not what you want to have there. It's kind of a takeaway, folks. So be cautious on Irving and Deontay Johnson this week. Look for Xavier Legette, the rookie. I mean, the Red Rifles going against his old team. He's going to want somebody to throw the ball to. Some better news there. Alvin Kamara returned to practice today off with the hip and rib injury, limited practice. I think he's going to be good to go. You know, Jerome Ford, I didn't see his practice indication, but in a similar situation where they didn't practice yesterday. Wednesday injury report.
I believe he was out today.
Was he out again?
I think so.
I'll
check real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, do some
while
research
you're working.
on that one. But Wednesday injury reports.
He was limited today. Sorry.
Okay, so same situation. So that's kind of brings me to my point. Don't freak out about Wednesday injury reports. Now, if it's a guy who got injured, visibly injured over the weekend, yeah, absolutely, it's a different situation. But if it's a guy who played the whole game and he just doesn't show up, especially a veteran guy, very common. Wednesday injury reports, I'm not going to say they're meaningless, but you got to take them with a grain of salt. I think, you know, the past couple of weeks, the Ravens have put a shit ton of players that did not practice Wednesday, and they're all practicing the next day.
No doubt.
So just got to, you know, Wednesday injury reports, don't freak out. Don't let anybody, you know, try to scare you into doing anything stupid. Just, you know, Thursday is really when we start to get an indication of what's going on there. All right. Because you guys know I love it. I'm talking a little defense and offensive line real quick, and then we'll get back into all those fantasy football offensive, you know, sexy guys there. So we've got this week 3 players who are leading tacklers for their team that are going to be out this week. We just talked about Alex Singleton, torn ACL. He's going to be out. Again, he led them in tackles for the past couple seasons, right? So, you know, Cody Barton might have to step up. There might have to get – actually, I will get into this a little bit later with one of our plays there. Jags linebacker Foye Oluokun, he's led the team in tackles the past 2 seasons. He's dealing with plantar fasciitis, which is what we thought Herbert was dealing with in the offseason. He's going to be out multiple weeks, definitely out this week. Devin Lloyd was a guy I was thinking might have to step up. He just did not practice with a knee injury today. So something to watch for, a defense that's already bad, losing their leading tackler for sure, and potentially their other inside linebacker. And then Patriots linebacker Juwan Bentley out for the season with a torn pec. You know, we saw how they looked without him against the Jets. So, you know, a defense that maybe we thought was okay is going to get a little leaky there. And then now I want to target some offensive lines. There's 3 offensive lines that are just beat the fuck up this week. And there's opportunities, whether you're going against them in the sack market or whether you're looking to fade it from an over-under perspective. But starting with the Atlanta Falcons, their starting center, Drew Dahlman, is on the IR with a high ankle sprain, and their starting right tackle, Caleb McGarry, is not practicing with an MCL sprain, likely out at least this week, if not multiple weeks.
Probably a couple weeks.
Now, you know, on the flip side, they're playing the Saints. Center Eric McCoy, right? Yep, Eric McCoy he's on the IR as well. He had a groin surgery. He's going to be out multiple weeks. And guard Cesar Ruiz is not practicing. So 2 teams playing each other, pretty beat up there. You got the Los Angeles Chargers, both tackles, Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, likely out this game. You know, Rashawn Slater dealing with a little bit of a pec strain. all dealing with an MCL sprain. Expect them both to be out. And then finally, the Browns. Wyatt Teller, their right guard, on the IR. Jack Conklin and Jedrick Willis, both coming back from major injuries. Both returned, already picked up new injuries.
Yep.
Conklin with a hamstring, Willis with a knee injury. So those are 3 defensive or offensive lines in the Chargers, the Browns, the Falcons. You got to have some concern there. So that's just something I had to throw in there. You know me, I like my defense. I like my offensive line. The trenches fucking matter, all right? Definitely. I will get back to the sexy guys here, the fantasy football guys, and I'll let Derek take it away. Devonta Smith not practicing, 2 not practices in a row with a concussion. You can throw Lane Johnson in there as well. What are you thinking now?
Yeah, I mean, with the Eagles, they're starting to get beat the hell up too. I mean, with Lane Johnson and both of their starting wide receivers not practicing at this point because AJ Brown's not back yet either. Starting to become a little bit more concerned. You know, I think going into this week, you have to rely on Saquon Barkley a little bit more. Jalen Hurts, you know, from a passing standpoint, definitely going to be more limited, obviously, because Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are out. But look for him to light it up on the ground a little bit more. Without the protection on that right side, with Lane Johnson being out, I expect a big game from him on the ground. But yeah, in terms of those injuries, you know, with Devontae Smith, we've talked about this before in terms of concussions. We really have to start seeing those limited practices today in order for them to really return and pass through that protocol. We haven't seen that. So expect him to be out along with those other guys.
Yeah, no, if you want more on concussions, on the Monday episode, we encourage you to check that out. We went much more in depth on concussions, what to expect. But one of the big takeaways is Thursday practice is key. You want to have at least a limited practice on Thursday and a full on Friday to clear the concussion protocol, right? With neither of those guys practicing, and we can throw Trey McBride in there. He did not practice as well. We had the conversation last week of, hey, how's the NFL going to handle it? Because, you know, 5 years ago, majority of guys played the next week. They were able to clear. Yeah. But this last season, it was a little different. It was a little bit harder, and it kind of changed week to week. So now this is the first big week where you got Trey McBride, Devonta Smith, Lane Johnson, some bigger names with these concussions. And we're seeing, hey, both of them did not practice, you know, on Thursday. That's a really good indication that all 3 guys are probably going to be out this week, like you mentioned on Monday. All right, let's talk about the Texans. Texans are another team kind of beat the fuck up here. We'll rattle it off here, but Joe Mixon, high ankle sprain. Damian Pierce, hamstring injury. Tank Dell, ribs and wrist. All 3 guys did not practice, and Nico Collins added to the injury report late with a hamstring injury. What are your takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, the Texans, especially after that ass whooping that they took last week, better step up against the Jags. Man. Yeah, no doubt. I was last week at this time I was saying, you know, Sam Darnold is still Sam Darnold. You got an up and coming guy with CJ Stroud. I was obviously wrong, but yeah, I mean, this definitely opens up a case for Stephon Diggs, right, as well as Cam Akers to make some noise down in Houston. But yeah, definitely beat up, and it's one of those things where Houston and Jacksonville usually, at least historically, we kind of know how games are going based on where this game is being played between the two. But with all of the injuries on Houston's sideline, it'll be interesting to see the results of that one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, look, I still like Houston there. The line, the spread's a little high, you know, the 6.5. We talked about, hey, dogs of 6.5 or more are doing really well. I don't think I'm ready to lay the big number there, but I do think they're able to get it done. A couple things I want to touch on before we move on over there to the betting realm. Devonta Adams picked up a hamstring, limited there. Not a good sign, like we talked about. Really hope for one of my plays later that he's able to go. Justin Herbert practicing in a limited capacity. Kind of rinse repeat with Herbert, what we talked about, man. It's going to be hard to trust him.
Yeah, and especially going up against the Chiefs. There we go. Without tackles. Yeah.
I mean,
best of luck to the guy.
I'll give it up for Herbert, though. I will say the dude fucking plays.
He's a tough dude.
A lot of shit. But you gotta like at this point, man, you gotta think about it. Hey, look, no Derwin James off of I think kind of a bullshit suspension.
Sure.
You know, no Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt, right? Like, look, man, we're probably gonna take the L here. We got a bye week next week. Like, let's just kind of pack it up and kind of hope for there. Look, you never want to pack up any games in the NFL, but it's risk versus reward at that point.
For sure. Hey, speaking of ankle injuries and tough dudes, Max Crosby is a tough motherfucker. He came back in 1 week with a high ankle sprain, but that also, we talk about high ankle sprains and how they're typically a little bit longer of a timeline to come back from.
Yeah.
There's a difference between running backs, wide receivers having a high ankle sprain versus defensive linemen.
Yeah,
sure.
And he's not practicing this week. So
exactly, and I think it's one of those things where he's obviously their best player. He's a seasoned vet. Will he make a run at it? I think he probably will, just because like that's him. But will he be limited? Potentially.
Probably. But hey, for one of my bets, I hope the fuck he's playing.
Yeah.
All right, folks. That is, hey, again, if you got any questions on any Ranger guys, drop them in the chat there. Let us know. Let's get the chat popping here. So if you guys have anything, definitely drop them in there. Before we move on, let me tell you about what we got going over here on Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Doug Stanhope, Brendan Walsh, Sean Green host the newest podcast on SGPN, Get to the Points. Every Thursday before the game, Doug, Brendan, and Sean give out their favorite plays and talk a ton of shit. Doug and Brendan are professional comedians. You may know them from the Joe Rogan podcast, Howard Stern, Comedy Central. Look, very funny dudes. All those guys work in the comedy realm. Hilarious. So subscribe to them wherever you get your podcast. Look, while you're subscribing to us, while you're liking us, go ahead and throw them a bone too. All right, folks, let's get the fuck into it, because now we are talking about the New York Football Giants against the Dallas Cowgirls. Look, in this preview, I mean, obviously, fucking disclosure, right? Disclaimer. I'm a Giants fan, okay? But I've learned, my heart has been hardened. Trust me, I'm not going to be in here just gushing about the Giants and stuff like that. My co-host will make sure that we're not being biased here at all. You got look at this live line. I know it's been like popping around everywhere. Let's take it. I don't know if, look.
I can take it. I can take a look.
Take a quick peek. The over-under should be around 44.5. The line was bopping between Giants plus 5.5, plus 6, plus 5, wherever it's bopping.
You just nailed both of them there. It's at 5.5 right now and 45.
All right. So Giants catching 5.5 points as a home dog at plus what? Probably plus 200, plus 190.
The Giants are home dogs at 205.
Plus 205. So
Cowboys are at minus 250.
Minus 250. All right. So that's dropped a little bit in the Cowboys' favor there as far as making them the favorites. Over-under still sitting at 44.5. All right. We're going to quickly go through some injury stuff, and then we're going to give out our best plays for this game that kicks off in about probably 30 minutes, call it. All right. Giants, worst case scenario injury front. Top 2 cornerbacks, top 2 out of 3 cornerbacks are out. Adoree Jackson, Drew Phillips, both dealing with calf injuries, both out. We drafted Drew Phillips in the 3rd round to guard guys like CeeDee Lamb in the slot. Fuck, not good. Okay, Darius Slayton, questionable with thumb injury. He's going to play. He practiced this week. Not huge there. Cowboys, 2 of their top 3 cornerbacks are out. See, not a lot of people talking about it, but Deron Bland, let's not forget, he was their quarterback number 2 on the IR. And then his backup, Kalen Carson, out with a shoulder injury. So they're down a couple cornerbacks as well. Look, I think it's a little bit more important that the Giants are down cornerbacks, because the way that Dallas succeeds is through the passing game. They can't run the ball worth shit. Now, on the other side, the way the Giants succeed is through the running game. So I will not have a play on the side or, the spread or the total. Do you have a play on the spread or the total?
Honestly, I've gone back and forth on the spread basically every day. I think I've switched back and forth. I think on our show Monday, I threw out the Cowboys as my early line lock. I've switched hands a little bit based on some of my research here. I think I am going to go Giants. I believe it's 5.5. Yeah, Giants at 5.5. For a couple of different reasons. I really think that the Giants offensive line has greatly improved. Dallas's defense has greatly regressed, especially with some of those injuries that you talked about. Leighton Vander Esch is not there anymore. And I think the Giants can run the ball better than they have in the past, which will really just speed the game up. When it comes to Dallas, like you said, their offense has to run through the passing game.
Yep.
And some of the offseason moves, bringing in Brian Burns, especially for the Giants, I think they'll be able to get after Dak a little bit, make him a little bit uncomfortable. CD's probably still going to get his. But I also think this is going to be a game for Rico Dowdle coming out of the backfield, catching some balls.
Okay.
So I don't think he's going to necessarily light it up from a running standpoint, but I did take his rushing plus receiving over at 55.5 at plus even money. I do like Wandale because
love Wandale. Yep.
Yeah, I took his 40 over 40 yards through the air at plus 120 because, like you said, Diggs, he'll probably I don't know if he necessarily follows guys, but
if they're smart, I mean, you got to either put Jordan Lewis or Diggs on Neighbors.
Yeah, I was going to say, any chance that they get, you're going to slide them over to Malik Neighbors. But I think Neighbors is also going to get his tonight. From a quarterback standpoint, I don't know if I would necessarily take any of Danny Dimes' passing things, but I do like him on the ground tonight with that hopefully better offensive line. They've been able to hold up the last couple weeks a little bit better. I think he does start to open it up a little bit more on the ground tonight against the Cowboys and in an in-division game. So give me Danny Dimes to rush for at least 40 yards tonight at plus 160 as well.
Look, I like it. I like the plays there. Now, I will say for your Giants spread, I'm hoping trends change. I saw a pretty funny tweet. Shout out to Giants Daily. The last time the Giants beat Dak Prescott, Malik Neighbors was 13 and in middle school. Daniel Jones was a sophomore at Duke. Barack Obama was president. Brian Dable was the Patriots tight end coach. Joe Schoen was the Dolphins director of player personnel. And Victor motherfucking Cruz was still on the team. So
yeah, but have the Giants had a wide receiver of Malik Neighbors' caliber since Victor Cruz?
No. Look, I like Odell Beckham, but I mean, I think Malik Neighbors, I've never seen a guy like just change an offense, man. He's a dog. He's only going to keep better each week. But like I said, no official plays on the spread. My plays tonight, of course, I have action on the game. CD Lamb over 90.5 receiving yards plus 120.
I like it.
I
took CDs over 100 at plus 150.
There you go. I was hoping maybe they don't kill me too much, right? Mental health. 2 tackles. Of course, I love defense. So 2 guys I'm targeting in the tackles market. Cordell Flott over 4.5 total tackles at minus 145. Yes, you're paying some juice. He is going to be the nickelback taking the place of Drew Phillips. He's going to be guarding CD Lamb a good amount. They're going to be targeting him. He likes to stick his nose in there. He's the 3rd leading tackler on the team. You also have Eric Kendricks for the Cowboys over 8.5 total tackles at minus 140. Yes, both of them are paying juice, but he's the leading tackler on the team. He's averaging just under 10 tackles a game. And again, like Derek said, I think if the Giants have success, they run Devin Singletary. They run the ball a lot. Middle linebacker is going to be in the middle of that all the time. If you don't want to pay the juice, you can parlay those 2 for 2-1. So that's Flott over 4.5 tackles or Kendrick over 8.5. Devin Singletary over 70.5 rushing yards at plus 135. We've been talking about it. Dallas Cowboys are the worst rushing defense in the NFL. The Giants offensive line has not been talked about much in 3 weeks. You do not understand how nice that feels as a Giants fan. Usually at this week, we're talking about firing the offensive line coach or what the fuck's going on or setting records for sacks taken. Not so fast. So let's see. And then the bright lights are on. That means Kayvon Thibodeau time. Give me Kayvon Thibodeau over a quarter of a sack at plus 150. All right, folks. We're moving around to the fantasy space. We are going to go through our love hates this week. Would you like to take the loves or the hates this week?
I think the last 2 weeks I've taken the loves, so I'll give you the love tonight.
Okay,
and, I'll run the hate.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So Stephon Diggs, pretty simple here. Likely no Joe Mixon, Tank Dell, Dameon Pierce, Nico Collins, whether he's going to miss practice tomorrow or he's going to be limited. Stephon Diggs is gonna have to, and that's look, we might have to fire the intern again. That's Stephon Diggs with an F, not a PH. What the fuck are we doing? But Stephon Diggs, I love him. He's gonna be the guy they're targeting, and the Jags defense is just awful. Marvin Harrison Jr. in a similar fashion, Washington might have the worst secondary in the league. We saw Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow go off on him. Marvin Harrison Jr., big play wide receiver. He's gonna get his tonight, and Kyron Williams going up against a Bears team that their offense is inept. I think there's going to be we both will talk about it later, but are on the Rams. We think that not only through the running game, but out of the backfield, he's been used as a receiver a lot more. You don't got Cooper Kupp, you don't got Puka Nacua, so let's get one of our playmakers out in space in the backfield. So we like Kyron Williams there. Who are we fading this week?
So J.K. Dobbins has kind of been frequently in our love list, but this week he's over on the hate side, mostly because both of his offensive tackles are gone.
Maybe his quarterback.
And potentially his quarterback. So from a Chargers standpoint, offense may be a struggle. And we really saw that in the second part of that Steelers game last week. So we're kind of fading J.K. Dobbins. DeAndre Swift, that Chicago running game, I don't know if it exists at this point.
They said Roshan Johnson's going to get a little more run too. So
exactly.
Beware.
Right. So, Chicago rush offense is non-existent, and we may have gotten some tips earlier in the week that Roshan Johnson's going to be the kind of the guy. And then Garrett Wilson, as for whatever reason, kind of frequented our hate list. Obviously,
gone up against great cornerbacks.
We like him as a wide receiver. We were pretty high on him coming into the season, but the run on cornerbacks that the Jets have seen so far has been kind of brutal. So
L'Jarius Sneed, Christian Gonzalez, Pat Surtain,
exactly. So Patrick Surtain, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. He may end up locking down Garrett Wilson yet again. So until further notice, Garrett Wilson has been locked down. But
yeah, we put him on a hate list a couple times, and it's came through. I mean, he's gotten some receptions and
taken a couple unders and they've cashed. So
yeah, exactly. Definitely from the yards perspective.
Right.
All right. It's time for the props of the week. All right. I will let you go first, my friend. What are your 3 props you are targeting this week?
Yep. So give me Joey Burrow at over 275 passing yards at plus 145. The Cincinnati Bengals put up some pretty good offensive numbers on Monday night, but their defense just sucks. They could not get off the field at all. Couldn't punt or didn't get a punt at all. So give me Joe Burrow at over 275. Again, going up against one of the worst defenses in the league with Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers blew their load last week. Give me Najee Harris over 70.5 rushing yards at plus 125. So with this one, you have to be a little strategic. If you just take like the yardage plus versus alternate yards gives you a little bit better price here. So plus 70, I believe, is like one or plus 105. But I think the Steelers in general ground and pound a lot against the Indianapolis Colts this upcoming week. And then give me Kyler Murray over 271.5 passing plus rushing yards. He's only hit this once this week, but going up against the Commandos that gave up over 300 yards against Joey Burrow in the air. Kyler Murray's ran for at least 40 yards in every single game this year. I think he hits this number pretty easily.
There you go. And I can't remember if we mentioned it, but yeah, Jalen Warren likely not playing this week. So love Najee.
Yep.
It's also Colts, no DeForest Buckner, likely no Kwity Paye. They're beat the fuck up.
The worst.
Yep. Very bad team against the run. All right, my props of the week. I'm starting with some hate here. I'm starting with a fade. Look, Jonathan Taylor, great running back, but sometimes his team forgets that, and he's going against the number 2 rush defense in the league in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to be leading most of this game. I expect them to be up. I expect the Colts needing to pass. And as we've seen in the past couple of weeks, it feels like Shane Steichen in that offense kind of forgets they have an awesome fucking player in Jonathan Taylor.
In the backfield,
so I'm going Jonathan Taylor under 65.5 rushing yards Again, I think the Steelers get out to a bit of a lead there. I think the Colts are trying to throw the ball a ton with Anthony Richardson, which is an awful game plan. So a little bit about game plan, a little bit about he's going against the number 2 rushing defense in the NFL. This one, of course, for my defensive people, Denver Broncos safety Brandon Jones over 6.5 tackles there. He's one of the leading tacklers on the team. I believe he's 3rd in tackles on the team. And Alex Singleton, the leading tackler on the team, is out for the year with an ACL. Somebody is going to have to fill that void. The Jets, I feel their pathway to success is on the ground, whether it's Braylon Allen or Breece Hall. Pat Surtain's going to take care of Garrett Wilson. Brandon Jones is a safety that plays down in the box. He sticks his nose in there. So I like him over 6.5 tackles at plus 110. And then Aaron Jones. It's revenge week, folks. I mean, Aaron Jones to go into Green Bay, you don't think he's going to score a touchdown? Come on now. Aaron Jones, anytime touchdown, plus 130. Too easy. All right. Let's tell you about one of our great sponsors here, and that is Underdog Fantasy. That's right, folks. Underdog Pick'em is always adding to their awesome menu, and they now have first touchdown projections. There are a ton of ways to win in the NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, and all the sports that you could throw in. I think WNBA is going on or something like that. Their lobby's jam-packed with boosts and no-sweat entries. Look, we're going to talk about one right now. They gave this week 1, obviously, Travis Kelce, but this is our underdog play of the week. And I added a little bit of, look, Patrick Mahomes over half a total yard, a freebie, a free square that you get to add into your lineup here. So that brings up to our underdog play of the week. So I will let you take, so obviously we don't have to break down Mahomes. I think pretty safe he's going to get over half a yard.
Well, unless the Swiftie takes him out on the way into the stadium, I think we should be good there. But yeah, give me Kyren Williams over or higher, excuse me. Give me Kyren Williams higher than half rushing and receiving yards. He's going to get in the end zone this week against the Bears, especially with that the rest of his offense really being beat the hell up. And then I'll skip down to Aaron Jones over 58.5 or higher than 58.5 rushing yards, excuse me. Yeah, same thing that you were just saying. Aaron Jones in a revenge spot. Plus, Aaron Jones has yet to have one of those Aaron Jones games when he just goes off for like 120 on the ground, 40 through the air. And I kind of expect that in this division rivalry, in this revenge spot for him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We both love Aaron Jones this week. All right. Going to the other guys there, Cam Akers. We talked about Stephon Diggs, but Cam Akers, look, no Joe Mixon, no Dameon Pierce. They're going up against a very bad Jacksonville Jaguars defense. To think that the RB1 isn't going to score. He scored through the air last week. He was their only touchdown last week. Look, I like Cam Akers to get in. I think it's a nice play there. And then Garrett Wilson, Pat Surtain, man. Pat Surtain. Lower 55.5 receiving yards there. We've talked about it enough. I don't think we have to say anything there. Look, we've got Patrick Mahomes over a half a total yard. We've got Kyren Williams to score a touchdown. Cam Akers to score a touchdown. Aaron Jones higher than 58.5 rushing yards. And Garrett Wilson lower than 55.5 receiving yards. That pays out a nice, juicy 20-1. 20x, folks. $10 wins you $200. We hope you ride with us. So sign up with promo code SGPNDoc to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That is promo code SGPNDoc. All right. You know what time it is, folks. It is best bets time. That is right. It is time for our Degen Docs prescription of the week. Coming off pretty hot right now, 2 back-to-back 3-1 weeks here. So we're going to try to keep it going. Actually, fuck it. We're going to try to go for 4-0 here. So let's go to ride. New Orleans Saints against the Atlanta Falcons under 42. One division rivalry game, right? I think that these NFC South games are usually ugly. Some ugly scores, some, two teams that are kind of, going neck and neck for this division here. More importantly, the Saints likely have 2 guys out on their offensive line, and the Falcons definitely have 2 guys out on their offensive line. You have offenses that already love field goals, and now you're going to bring them back here with the offensive line troubles. I think both of them are able to get after the quarterback. I think the ground game is where the success comes from. So give me the under 42 there in that game. Pittsburgh, -1.5, going over at Indianapolis. Look, Colts are beat up. Colts are not a great team. Anthony Richardson looks broken. He does not look right now. I don't know if it's an injury or the fact that as a Florida Gator fan, he's really never really been a great quarterback, especially if they try to make him a pocket passer. Pittsburgh Steelers are absolutely rolling this week. There's a chance they get back their guard in Siamalu back to their lineup. You know, Jalen Warren being out, usually for most teams, that's a big deal. But when you got Najee Harris and Cordell Patterson and Arthur Smith running the ball, they're going to be good. They've also Kenny Moore and Chris Layman's, and they already had one of their cornerbacks go out for the year. They're beat up in the secondary. So look for George Pickens, maybe a Calvin Austin to get home there. Las Vegas Raiders -2. About the only team I'm laying points with the Raiders is the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are awful team this year. Their offensive line is decimated, and that was their strong suit. Deshaun Watson, he looks terrible. Let's be honest. They can't get the running game going. I understand Amari Cooper is a good wide receiver, but this Raiders team, they're at home. I think they're going to stabilize themselves, and the Browns defense on the road is not the same as the Browns defense at home. So give me Las Vegas there -2. And finally, Rams +130. I don't think the Bears should be favored against many teams in the NFL, especially not a team with Matt Stafford on the other side there. I think Matt Stafford is an immensely better quarterback than Caleb Williams at this point. I think they've stabilized their offensive line a little bit with Alaric Jackson coming back from suspension. Yep. And the Bears, the one way the Bears can have success is through the ground. The Rams are not a good team defending the run, but the Bears can't fucking run the ball. So if they can't run the ball, their offensive line is shit and they're all beat up. Why would I think the Bears are going to have any success? So give me the Rams on the money line at +130. All right, brother. What are your locks of the week?
Well, just because you really touched on and basically stole all my thunder with the Rams, give me the Rams at +3. But let's jump back up to the top. So the Cincinnati Bengals 0-3. You got Joey Burrow coming into the Panthers, Carolina, going down to Carolina
with the red rifle.
Yes. They're in desperation mode at this point. You know, I was really high on the Cincinnati coming into the season. Obviously, their defense is horrendous, but I kind of touched on it earlier. I think the Panthers really just blew their load last week, and their defense still sucks.
So the Gatorade game.
Exactly. So I think the Bengals are in a must-win situation here. Obviously, Joey Burrow was not happy after that Monday night game, especially with his defense not getting a single stop throughout the game. So give me the Bengals at -4.5. Give me Tampa Bay on the money line. I really don't know how Tampa Bay is not favored at home against the Broncos or not the Broncos.
Philadelphia Eagles.
The Eagles. There we go. The Eagles, especially as beat up as the Eagles are. So give me the Tampa Bay Bucks on the money line at +110. And then the Broncos. The Broncos are just a tricky team, especially over the last couple of weeks. 2 weeks ago, they played the Steelers, and they just couldn't get anything offensively going. But defensively, really started to show something. And last week, they finally kind of got over that hurdle. So I actually think that we'll continue to do that against the Jets this week. I'm going to kind of fade them a little bit after a big win last week.
There we go, folks. Those are your locks of the week there. Look, we are about to do our last ad read in our D-Gen parlay, but because we love the chat here, we're going to help our friend Steven out. Look, and we love you because I got 5 minutes until my Giants kick off here. So hello. Well, cheers to you, Steven. Full PPR, 2 flex spots. Who would you work in, Rico? Would you work in Rico Dowdle to this lineup? James Cook, Josh Jacobs, Jamar Chase, George Pickens, Najee Harris, Carson Steele. No. Wait, so those are I'm assuming these are my flex options, all these guys.
So my guess is he's probably starting James Cook, Josh Jacobs, Jamar Chase, and George Pickens in his 2 wide receivers, 2 running back spots.
So he needs to decide between Harris, Steele, and so basically for me it's Steele and Dowdle. So let's have that conversation.
Yes.
Are you starting Rico Dowdle or Carson Steele this week?
I would.
There we go. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I would probably go Dowdle on this one.
Well, you like him in the rush receiving realm, so if he's going to get some stuff out of the backfield,
Yeah. I think especially in a PPR league, I think I'm going to go Dowdle on this one. The Chargers are still pretty damn good on defense, so I think I would go Dowdle.
I would as well. As much as it pains me, I think he gets in a touchdown here. I think it's going to be a little bit of point scoring this week. And with Kareem Hunt being activated to the 53-man roster, I think, you got 3 running backs there with P. Ryan, Steele, and Hunt. And as much of a Steele fan as I am, I think it is Rico Dowdle this week. So that's what I would go with. So hopefully we got you in time to lock that in. All right, folks. Let's tell you about a couple of our sponsors, and then stay tuned because we have our Degen parlay of the week where we just try to make a little fun little cash there.
That's right.
So BetUS, we're brought to you by BetUS. That's right. BetUS has been in business for 30 years. They've got easy deposit with cryptocurrency and lightning fast payouts. Support SGPN and get yourself access to another great book by signing up at BetUS. Use our link to sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book in America. Did I say America twice there? I think I'm drunk.
I think you said it like 4 times.
All right, relax. So let me tell you about something Derek doesn't have, and that is Rhythm. That is right, Rhythm and their models.
Hey, I do have a model.
Oh, golly.
My wife is a beautiful specimen.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say, you've been married for 2 fucking weeks. Don't get yourself in trouble.
Come on.
All right. So SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm. Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own models or copy one of the top performing models on the leaderboard. I think when we've talked about this, I think it's cool. It breaks down that barrier of like, oh shit, this guy has his own model, right? Thinking that it's this whole thing. Man, you could do it too. Just tell it what stats you like. Hey, do you like rush per attempt? Do you like whatever it may be? You can make your own model. You can kind of like, dick around with your friends. Say, yeah, I got a model back at home. I got a couple. So anyway, claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, folks, one of my favorite parts of the show, and especially this week because, look, we got about 2 minutes before kickoff, so get this fucking in. Let's go.
Let's do it. So I'm going back to the 50s type of offense here. I'm going 2 backs, 2 tight ends. Give me Aaron Jones, Rachaad White, Pat Freiermuth, and Kyle Pitts to all score this upcoming weekend. Going into this, we've touched on Aaron Jones already. How we really like him in that revenge spot. Pat Freiermuth, the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers played the Colts, he ended up in the end zone. And then Rachaad White, we've talked about how Bucky Irving was supposed to be that, supposed to get more carries. He hopefully he got that message as well and kind of starts running a little bit more angry. I think Kyle Pitts, the only, I think there's 2 teams that have given up a couple touchdowns, 2 tight ends, and one of them is New Orleans. So give me Kyle Pitts to make that 3. All of those guys score. We're looking at a nice 67-1.
That's it? 67, brother. Those are rookie
well,
numbers.
I was throwing some
things up.
I was throwing some big guys out there the last couple weeks. Tried to tame it down a little bit. So
okay, hey, I mean, profit is profit. You know what they say. So, all right, for my Degen's only parlay of the week, it is Najee Harris, 100+ yards, rushing yards. Aaron Jones, revenge angle, 120+ rush receiving, and Chuba Hubbard, 125+ rush receiving yards, and a nice plus 180 to 1. Ooh. Look, folks. I need 3 guys to do 3 things they're very capable of. I need Najee Harris to go against that decimated Colts defense, likely playing with the lead. I need him to be the lead back, no Jaylen Warren, 100 yards. Boom. Aaron Jones, he's a threat on the ground and through the air. He returns to Green Bay. You're telling me Mr. Sombrero isn't going to want to put on a show? Absolutely. Chuba Hubbard, a guy who was unleashed last week. He had to play with the awful, the putrid Bryce Young, and now the Red Rifle with revenge on his mind. He's going to hand it off. He's going to hit him out of the backfield. give me Najee Harris, Aaron Jones, Chuba Hubbard to have a day 180 to 1. All right, folks. Look, that is almost it here. I will let my co-host say one of the final words. You got anything for the good people before we go?
No.
All right. Well,
You said you only give me one word.
That's true. I said I'll give you a whatever. Fuck you. So follow us on social. Again, a like, comment, subscribe. We're a new channel. We appreciate any love we can get there. We're on all the socials with all the hip kids, right? So definitely X is the great place to get up-to-date news. That's where we're putting out stuff every day. You know, most updated information is definitely on X. So follow us at the Degen Docs there. All right, folks.
Also checks out on Spotify, Apple Podcast,
yeah, look, there you go.
Yes.
There you go. All right, folks. You know what they say. A lock a day keeps the bookie away. And we've got your prescription. From the Degen Docs, let it ride and go Giants. What's up, Degens? Doc here. As a proud member of the U.S. Army and a lover of football, sometimes those two things cross over on here. But as you probably already know, as a lowly captain, these are just my opinions. These are not opinions that are representative of the entire DoD or the U.S. Army. The same thing goes for any references to any commercial products or hyperlinks. Again, that does not constitute an endorsement from the DoD or the Army. I hope you enjoyed the show, and as always, let it ride, baby.